Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1959B, and today's date is September 2nd, 2019, and the title of the episode is Desperation Sets In, See Something, Say Something, Brace for It, Incoming. Now, over the last 30 days, Capital One, the Central Bank of Europe, and the great state of Texas have all been hacked in major data breaches. This is starting to get really out of control, guys. Who's going to be next? One of the best things you can do to help protect yourself online is invest in a VPN or virtual private network. This allows you to create a secure connection to another network over the internet. VPNs can be used to shield your browsing activity from prying eyes, whether on public, Wi-Fi connections, foreign country, or just at home. Here, let me show you how easy this is. Go to Virtual Shield, download the free 30-day trial, install it, and click Connect. This month, Virtual Shield is offering the anniversary special of 30% off all VPN plans and all premium add-ons, including Protection Plus, Residential Access, and VPI performance plans for as low as a cup of coffee. Sign up for a free 30-day trial to Virtual Shield VPN and see what the hype is about. You have nothing to lose. Protect your personal data with a VPN. Click on the link below. Let's get into the economic collapse, political, and geopolitical news. Now, at every turn, the deep state is failing. The event in Texas does not fit their narrative. The individual has a criminal record. The Mueller investigation failed. Obstruction failed. Impeachment failed. They attack Trump on his character. That has failed. The deep state is going to try to push as many events as they possibly can to distract, to clog the news cycles. We'll be talking about this a little later in this report. But first, Trump is letting the people know who the real enemy is. He tweeted out the following: "The lamestream media has gone totally crazy. They write whatever they want, seldom have sources, even though they say they do. Never do fact-checking anymore, and are only looking for the kill. They take good news and make it bad. They are now beyond fake. They are corrupt. The good news is that we are winning. Our real opponent is not the Democrats or the dwindling number of Republicans that lost their way and got left behind. Our primary opponent is the fake news media. In the history of our country, they have never been so bad." And he's absolutely right. Think about the power of the mainstream media. Remember, there's 7 companies, maybe soon to be 6, because it looks like there's 2 companies that are looking to merge. We'll see if that happens. But right now, 7 companies, they control the news outlets. They have the 4 a.m. talking points, and everyone gets the script. And if you repeat these things over and over enough, people do believe. But people are starting to become aware of this. People are starting to realize that all of this doesn't make sense, even when they're continually repeating it. Because now we have individuals on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, have their personal websites, and people are starting to look at other places saying, you know something, this makes a little bit more sense. Let me do a little research. Yeah, the news is lying. And they're losing ground right now. This is why their ratings are declining. And Trump, he's letting everyone know that, yes, the fake news media, they're the problem right now. And of course, who drives them? Yes, the intelligence organization, the deep state, all the non-elected organizations, the non-elected people. They're pushing their propaganda to shift the narrative to their agenda. Remember, the people aren't saying, hey, this is what we want. What they're doing is they're presenting this in the mainstream media, and they're shifting the people to say, yes, this is what we want. And they continually push, nudge, push until they get the people where they want them. Trump tweeted out the following: "The Amazon Washington Post did a story that I brought racist attacks against the squad. No, they brought racist attacks against our nation. All I do is call them out for the horrible things they have said. The Democrats have become the party of the squad." Now, once again, Trump has maneuvered and placed the squad as the spokespeople for the Democratic Party. And he's commenting on how these individuals are racist. And he's correcting the fake news media, especially the Amazon Washington Post, because they try to spin this around to make it seem like he's racist. And what they're saying is not, but actually it is the opposite. Now, everything that we've learned from the IG report shows Comey's true intentions. It was a counterintelligence investigation. FBI Director James Comey, and this is coming out of the Epoch Times. His first meeting with then President-elect Donald Trump appears to have been part of the agency's counterintelligence investigation into the Trump campaign. Comey has described the January 6, 2017 briefing at Trump Tower as a defensive briefing intended to inform the president-elect of salacious allegations contained in the so-called Steele dossier. Comey had testified to Congress that he was briefing Trump on it because we had been told by the media it was about to launch. We didn't want to be keeping that from him. He didn't know this was being said. I was very keen not to leave him with the impression that the Bureau was trying to do something to him. Comey's testimony to Department of Justice Inspector Michael Horowitz as part of the agency's investigation into Comey, however, paints a different picture. Comey told Horowitz that the information he obtained from the conversation with Trump ought to be treated like FISA-derived information or information in a counterintelligence investigation. In other words, his meeting with Trump had very direct surveillance overtones and intentions, and directly counters what he had testified to in Congress. Now, according to his congressional testimony, Comey had told Trump at the January 6, 2017 meeting that he was not under investigation by the FBI, noting, "Sir, we're not personally investigating you." Now, prior to the meeting with Trump at Trump Tower, Comey met with FBI officials involved in the Crossfire Hurricane investigation into the Trump campaign to discuss a strategy to obtain information on how to memorialize it right after the meeting. Comey told the IG that in advance of his meeting with President-elect Trump, he met with senior leaders of the FBI, including his Chief of Staff, James Rybicki, then FBI Director Andrew McCabe, and then FBI General Counsel James Baker, and the supervisors of the FBI investigation into Russian interference with the 2016 presidential election. Now, according to the IG report, multiple FBI witnesses said the meeting was intended in part to see how President-elect Trump reacted to the allegations and whether he would reveal new information useful for their counterintelligence investigation. According to the IG report, it also agreed that Comey should immediately write a memo based on his conversation with the president, in what appears to have been an effort to memorialize any information that might be useful in their investigation. The IG noted that during the investigation, he had determined that there were actually two versions of Memo 1. Now, the first version was dated January 6, 2017, and was drafted by Comey as a document on an FBI classified laptop in the car departing Trump Tower. A member of Comey's protective detail emailed this document to Comey, Rybicki, and McCabe on the evening of January 6, 2017, using the FBI's classified email system. The version was not marked with a classification banner header, portion markings, or a classification authority block. The second version of Memo 1, dated January 7, 2017, at 1:42 p.m., is an email that Comey sent to Rybicki, McCabe, and Baker through the FBI's classified computer system. Comey used the electronic classification marking tool in the FBI's computer system to mark this version of Memo 1 secret, no foreign, or con before sending it. Now, although the IG noted that the two memos were substantially similar, one wonders why Comey felt compelled to have the initial draft emailed to Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe and Comey's Chief of Staff James Rybicki immediately following his meeting with Trump and without any classification markings. Comey's meeting with Trump followed a formal briefing that Comey, CIA Director John Brennan, National Security Director James Clapper had provided to Obama just hours earlier regarding the intelligence community assessment on Russia hacking and election interference. Clapper had personally briefed Tapper about the Comey-Trump meeting almost immediately after it occurred. We know this from findings contained within the White House final report on Russian active measures. Clapper at first denied leaking the information of the dossier and the Comey-Trump meeting, but ultimately acknowledged, "Yeah, I leaked it." These people lie. And when you continually call them on it and say, "We have evidence that you did this," then they come clean. So the report confirms that Trump was always the target. Trump knew this. The Patriots knew this. This is why they continue to ask the question, am I the target of this investigation? He wanted them to be on record. And they lied about it. And he did this on purpose because it shows that he was the target. And every time he asked, they lied. So it is confirmed. The IG report does confirm this. Let's move on to the Flynn case because the things are starting to heat up there. Sidney Powell, wow, she is hammering away at the Mueller gang. She's demanding that the Mueller gang be held in contempt. Powell argues that the deep state Mueller gang should be held in contempt. Sidney Powell argues that the deep state, the Mueller gang, led by the most corrupt Department of Justice attorney in U.S. history, Andrew Weissmann, withheld information pertinent to their case. And we discussed this yesterday. But Will Chamberlain tweeted out the following. Powell makes a shocking accusation that prosecutors Brandon Van Crack and Zainab Ahmad, under the direction of Andrew Weissmann, affirmatively suppressed evidence that destroyed the credibility of their primary witness and impugned their entire case against General Flynn. It looks like Sidney Powell, her allegations are based on voluntary production of documents by the prosecutors on August 16th. Van Grack denied that there was any Brady material in the production. Powell disagreed and argued that the prosecutors should be held in contempt. Continuing, Sidney Powell notes that the consequences of contempt finding by Judge Sullivan would be the existing prosecutors would be thrown off the case and the Department of Justice would have to appoint new prosecutors, just as happened in the Ted Stevens case. Van Grack, Ahmed, and Andrew Weissmann probably aren't very happy right now. This motion threatens not only their prosecution of General Flynn, but their careers and their professional reputations. They haven't filed their response yet. But of course, the mainstream media is out there like New York Times. They're trying to spin the whole thing. And we know that Sidney Powell is pushing this because she needs this information. And she knows once she gets the information, it will set General Flynn free. And it will show that they're the ones who violated the law. And General Michael Flynn did not. And this is why they haven't given that information. Now, very interestingly, Jeanine Pirro explains the entire plan of the deep state in regards to bringing in the illegals into this country. Now, of course, the mainstream media is calling this a conspiracy theory, but we've discussed this before, and we know from everything that we looked at, this was part of their agenda. And it looks like it's no longer a conspiracy. Yes, the mainstream media is calling it a conspiracy because if it goes against what they are telling you, everything is a conspiracy. Think about it. When we were saying that the Russian collusion, that there was none, that was a conspiracy because it was against what they were telling the public. But when you look at it, they were pushing the conspiracy theory, not people on Twitter, not people in the alternative media on YouTube or on Facebook that were completely telling a completely different story than the mainstream media. But Pirro said that the deep state was planning a great replacement. Their plan and their plot to remake America is to bring in the illegals, change the way the voting occurs in this country, give them licenses. They get to vote maybe once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times. You've got motor voter registration on the day of the election. We've got voter rolls that haven't been purged of dead people in years, where the Democrats have resisted that, she said. She added, think about it. It is a plot to remake America, to replace American citizens with illegals who will vote for the Democrats. And she's absolutely right. That was their plan. Remember, the entire plan, the global plan, was to blend every single country, to bring the U.S. down to a third world country level because their plan was to have a one world government. And now, Jeanine Pirro is actually saying it. She's seeing it. Welcome to the party. Let's move on to Jeffrey Epstein because something very interesting happened in the Jeffrey Epstein case. The modeling agency boss that recruited women has completely disappeared. Jean-Luc Brunel has disappeared like a ghost. Investigators are looking everywhere for this individual. They made inquiries throughout the U.S. and Europe as well as Brazil, and they can't find this Frenchman. Remember, he was the one who was bringing a lot of these women. There's no address for him. All of his internet accounts, including social media, they've been completely wiped. He is completely wiped off the face of the earth. All these individuals, they're in hiding. The deep state, they went in and they got rid of Epstein and everyone else connected. They are hiding and they're wiping everything out of the system. Why? Because they know what's coming. You think this is really going to stop the investigation? Absolutely not. Why? Because everything was collected beforehand. All the evidence, the videos, the pictures, the documentation, they have everything because the investigation just didn't start 1 month, 2 months, 3 months ago. Jeff Sessions started the investigation when he came into the office of Attorney General. And they were collecting it without Epstein and all the players knowing this. This was done on purpose. Now, Trump is now changing the landscape of the circuit courts. Remember, they place judges in these positions, then they blackmail them to do the deep state dirty work. And Trump tweeted out the following: "We hold the legislative prayer is government speech not open to attack via those channels. Third Circuit Court of Appeals, Lou. That's why this next election is so important. The soul of America. They want to take religion out of American lives. Thank God for judges like this. Judge Thomas Ambrose, majority opinion. And thank God for a president like Donald J. Trump who will appoint judges like this. He will soon have appointed 180 new federal judges, not even including 2 great new Supreme Court justices." So let's talk about Obama right now, because FISA-gate, Spygate, Uranium One, Hillary Clinton's email scandals, they're all going to lead back to him one way or another. But I want to go back to Q's post first. This is post 3126. And it said, "Did both of Hussein's parents learn Russian? Is Russian a common language to learn? Think then, think now. Why would you need to know how to speak Russian in their fields of practice, public fields? The Cold War," and then gave us A, B, C in brackets, D, E, F, G, the rest of the alphabet. It's the alphabet agencies. Why would they need to learn Russian? Well, let's go to post 3514. Give us a Twitter link, and this Twitter link shows Obama talking about how he was the first elected president from Kenya. And down below it says, "One or both of his parents fluent in Russian? Both. Is Russian a common language to learn? No. Farms develop necessary unique skill sets in order to produce results. Stay awake." So this brings us to Obama. His parents, well, it looks like they might have been some agents, because the farm developed these type of people with necessary skills to push an agenda. Sarah Carter tweeted something about Obama. And this is what she tweeted. "At Barack Obama, at Joe Biden gave Kenya $7.5 billion during their years in power. If you believe that Congress should review all U.S. aid, retweet with comment." Now the question is, why did $7.5 billion go to Kenya? We know that Obama is from Kenya. And Q has been telling us that eventually we're going to see video and information to come out that shows that he was born in Kenya. But again, that's a conspiracy theory. Or is it? Let's go to post 3325. Remember when Q said, "Why would a president of the United States, Hussein, assign renegade as his United States Secret Service codename? Define renegade: a person who deserts and betrays an organization, country, or set of principles. Synonyms: traitor, defector, deserter, turncoat, betrayer. Adjective for renegade: having treacherously changed allegiance. There's a reason why Q gave us this. There's a reason why Q is letting us know that Obama's parents, they were part of the farm. And this information is all going to come out. Now, very interestingly, we see that the Saudi prince, they are pushing an anti-corruption mission to get rid of all those individuals, the swamp, that have been working in Saudi Arabia for a very long time. So the new head of Saudi Arabia's Anti-Corruption Commission said he plans to go after graft by ordinary government employees following a high-profile campaign 2 years ago that netted princes, ministers, and top businessmen. Why is Saudi Arabia doing this? Because the patriots are in control. Let's go back to post-2050. Remember when Q, which is in post-2049, gave us Saudi Arabia access closed, Epstein Island access closed. And there were certain ones like Syria, Yemen, Libya, Somalia, they were pending. They were working with the government to close this access. Who was accessing this? Well, down below it says HRC, Hillary Clinton. She was Alice. Saudi Arabia was Wonderland. So what was going on there? Well, Saudi Arabia was the epicenter for human trafficking. The prince right now is draining the swamp. This is no longer the playground for the deep state. Access is closed. The same thing is happening here. The same thing is happening around the world. If you look at the black sites, they're being removed. Now, out in China, the protesters are still pushing the government. They want freedom. And the mainland people are coming to Hong Kong. They're continually protesting. The police are coming down on them. And remember, these people don't have weapons. These people have no way to defend themselves. Think about that for a second. Remember, China censors people. Remember, Google, they were working on a project called Dragonfly, and they were creating a search engine that censors, and they were doing this for China, even though they denied it. And then it showed up later that, yes, they were developing this. This was going to be used not just in China, but everywhere. The deep state, they were planning for this. Now, very interestingly, Ryan Savendra tweeted out the following. Saw this photo floating around and wanted to verify that it was real and not a Photoshop before posting it. It's real. The photo of the defiant pro-democracy protesters in Hong Kong was taken on July 28th, 2019. And their sign says, "We need the Second Amendment." Why would they be saying this? Because those people without a weapon, they don't have the ability to protect their rights from government, from the deep state. Because those that cannot defend themselves, they will be controlled. Now think about China for a second. If Google was designing a censorship search engine, and here in the United States they were pushing gun control, what do you think they were trying to do? They were trying to take what China has and make the United States look exactly like that. And why do these people want the Second Amendment? Because all they have is rakes, pitchforks, and umbrellas to defend themselves. If the government came down on them and they use weapons, which I've been hearing that they were using live rounds, there's no way for them to protect themselves. Remember, we have the First Amendment, which is freedom of speech, freedom of press. The second protects that. Because if the deep state got their way and they removed all weapons, they would have full control. Why do you think they've been trying so hard for a very long time? Now, out in Afghanistan, we see that the peace deal is moving forward, and the United States, they're going to withdraw troops from Afghanistan. They'll be closing about 5 bases within 135 days, and I believe we're going to see a lot more of this. Everything that the deep state had set up around the Middle East is being shut down. Now, very interestingly, today is Labor Day, and happy Labor Day to everyone who is celebrating it. The deep state, they are trying to push as many events as they possibly can. And it seems the patriots are listening, hearing, they're monitoring the chatter, and making every effort to stop each and every one of them. Can they stop them all? Well, maybe, maybe not. We'll see. But the patriots, they're keeping a close eye on the deep state and their movements. Now, very interestingly, in New Jersey, they arrested a man because he had several pipe bombs-like devices, and they were discovered along a Labor Day parade route in New Jersey that Governor Phil Murphy and First Lady Tammy Murphy, they were scheduled to attend. And he had about a half dozen of these. Now, they're saying that these wouldn't have hurt anyone. Maybe they were flashbangs. We've seen that before in other events. And then they called in the crisis actors, and it made it look like it was a lot worse than it really was. And you can see that each time the patriots are stopping this. Now, again, can they stop everything? I think they're going to try to do their best where they're trying to stop every single one of these. But we know from Q that we need to be on guard because the deep state knows that more drops are coming and they're going to feel the pain. But very interestingly, and this is coming from Veronica Wolski, she tweeted out the following. Eyes on New York, the People's Bridge. And it says, Nation, September 6th and 7th, military seeks role players to portray injured citizens in New York. So in this whole thing, it says the military soliciting to hire role players for an exercise wherein the role players will portray injured citizens in Oriskany, New York on September 6th and 7th. Then we have Tesla's Muse. This individual tweeted out the following, heads up in Nevada. And it says, Human Domain Solutions, LLC, get paid up to $225 to support Nevada National Guard as role player on September 8th and 9th near Las Vegas to be a crisis actor. Think about what's happening here. Is the deep state planning and setting up these events? Because we know whenever there's a drill or anything going on and there are crisis actors there, something happens. And let's go back to post 3568. Q says, see something, say something. Know your surroundings at all times. We know the deep state is not going to give up. We know the patriots are listening to the chatter, watching every move they make, trying to stop every single event. And we all have to be on guard and report what we are seeing. So this way, it stops them from pushing ahead with their events. And it looks like it is working. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.